Hello and welcome to Self-Care True Stories. My name is Anna Pereira. I'm the founder of the Wellness Universe. You're here at the Wellness Universe Lounge. This is where we host classes, sessions, workshops, and all of our wonderful Wellness Universe world changers also host different types of sessions and workshops and shows and support groups, learning, where you can learn, where you can engage, where you can get supported by the members of the Wellness Universe. And today we have a very special guest on this show to let you know a little bit of background about Self-Care True Stories series. We want to bring to you the true stories of what our members, who are coaches, therapists, doctors, counselors, guides, teachers, and healers, their true story to you, their real life story. What have they been through that allows us to trust in them more in what they have to offer and support us with? So today I want to introduce you to Dr. Toni. Hello, Dr. Toni, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for having me. It is my absolute pleasure to be here.
And mine as well. I know that we've worked together and we've gotten to know each other over the course of perhaps the last 2 years. This COVID, I know, because this COVID year is it's kind of just flown by, right? The COVID year has flown by, and we were already,
Wow.
getting to know each other really well beforehand. And I am just so inspired by you. I just want to read a little bit of your bio that you gave us, and then you're welcome to share the other wonderful things about yourself, like having all your, being such a great mom and everything else. Let me just read a little bit about your bio. So Dr. Toni Warner McIntyre is a fellow parenting professional, mental health therapist, and transformational life coach with over a decade of experience in the field of human behavior and psychology. She earned her master's in clinical social work, her master's in education, and her doctorate in human sexuality. Dr. Toni's approach encompasses both practical and powerful methodologies. She's trauma and neuroscience informed, with specialized training in and experience with various effective modalities, which collectively support a holistic approach to life enhancement. She's the founder of Dr. Toni Coaches. Its mission is to inspire and enact meaningful change in the world by helping impact makers create work, life, and relationship balance, enhancing their lives and the lives of others. Welcome, Dr. Toni. Such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm always excited to be able to have conversations with you, Anna. The Wellness Universe, the platform, the community, you care about people and you care about making an impact. And that's near and dear to my heart. That's what I'm here for, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. And specifically, you've really touched my heart in our conversations and what you've been through. In fact, when you brought your story out as a best-selling author in our first self-care book on the 25 tools of stress relief, I actually have a copy right here. You were an author in this book, and there we go. And when I read your story, even knowing you so well, I really knew you for all the amazing services you offer as a therapist, and now into the coaching. So you have a broader, you have more latitude with how you can service people. I had no idea what you actually went through. And to me, that was so profound. And it's like, wow, I already knew you to be, a wonderful wife and a wonderful mom to your children, and, self-made, wonderfully educated with all of your support services with your coaching. And then I read what you've been through and I'm like, oh my gosh, she really has been there and done that. Mm-hmm. So for me to bring your story out to the world was really important. And I really hope that, everyone here, and welcome all of our live attendees, was really important to me. And I think that people are going to get a lot out of it. So can you share a little bit about where you've been and what you've been through and why you're so passionate about helping the world be a better place through all of the service and support that you give?
Absolutely. I do want to respond to what you just said first, too, is thank you so much. I mean, your compliments are, they make my heart warm. And at the same time, for my achievers out there, compliments like those are also sometimes hard for us to take, right? Because when we get stuck in this cycle of needing to prove ourselves and needing to accomplish a lot of things, those accomplishments can feel like a lot of pressure because we have to keep up with them. We have to keep pushing. We have to keep going. And that's really that was my experience, and part of what I shared in the book as well. And it's the first time that I really shared that part of my experience so publicly. And the response that you just gave me of I had no idea is really the response I got from most of the people that know me, because they didn't have any idea, because I wanted it to be that way, right? Like I wanted people to not know that I was stressed out. I wanted people to not know that I was feeling pulled in a million different directions. Like I wanted people to not know that I was having a hard time, because I needed to really uphold that sense of what we call saving face, like that sense of like, no, I got this. Like I'm the exception. I don't get stressed out. I'm superwoman, you know, I'm super independent wonder, like I have to be, or else I'm nothing kind of thing, or else like, what's the point? Or else I have no purpose, and I have to have a purpose. And so that pressure is real. And I wanted to just share that, you know, in response to what you said, because I think there may be some on this call and those that watch the replay that might be able to relate of, yes, I mean, I have a ton of accomplishments, and I didn't take much time, honestly, to stop and breathe between each one of them. I didn't take much time to feel proud of myself, because I just had to push on to the next goal, to the next thing, because I had to keep proving myself. And that is not a sustainable cycle. That is not a way that we can live and actually enjoy life. And ultimately, that's what happened. That's why I got burnt out twice. That's why I felt like no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. Right. So if anyone can relate to that, you're like, oh, like I keep pushing myself. I keep trying. I keep doing. I keep giving. I keep going. I'm on mode all the time, to the point I'm exhausted and I'm like operating on E. You can't fill up an empty tank like this. So the more you deplete your tank, like I did, the longer and the more fuel it takes to refill it. But if we never figure out how to actually refill our tank, we keep pushing ourselves on E and we burn out. And that's what's happening. We can see it in the statistics that burnout rates continue to rise. Even before COVID, they were continuing to rise. With COVID, they're continuing to rise. Stress rates, anxiety rates, depression rates, they're all continuing to rise. And those are all things that I've experienced in my life as well. So I now know that I'm not alone. But when I was in like the thick of it, I definitely felt like I was alone. So I want that message to be heard too, that if you can relate at all and you feel really alone, like no one gets it, that's how it feels to be in there. And at the same time, you're not alone. Fortunate or unfortunate, right? Like fortunate or unfortunate that you're not alone and you're not the only one in that situation. But the benefit, I think, of sharing part of my story is for you to know that you don't have to stay stuck in it, that you don't have to stay in that as your way of living forever. You don't. I know it feels like it sometimes, like what is the alternative? But you don't. You do not have to stay there.
Toni, let me stop you for 1 minute, because I want to interject for 1 second. And I know that people looked at you like, wow, she has some magic potion. She is built out of some fiber, some alien being DNA, that she can accomplish so much. And this is what you look like from the outside, all growing up, through college, until you hit that point where it's like, this is not sustainable. Like you said, this is not sustainable. You're really not going to achieve what you desire to be happy, what you desire to live a robust life. Why are we here on this earth? Yet you are constantly in the mode of operating from what you thought people expected of you, or what you thought was going to bring you that. And yet you were constantly pulling yourself down into, into the abyss. So, can you share a little bit more of, what you went through? I just can't believe you are who you are now, and you went through what you went through, knowing you.
It's funny you use the word alien, because as a kid, I actually called myself an alien. Like I felt like an alien. I felt like I didn't fit in. Like I always felt that way. I felt like I did not fit in. I was like, I must be an alien because I don't fit in. And I mean, I'm talking about like the categories that are more well known, as well as those that you can't really put a label on. You can just feel it. Like you just feel like this peg doesn't fit into this square hole. It just doesn't fit. And if I keep pushing, like, then it hurts, it hurts because it doesn't work. And so By the more tangible categories, what I'm talking about is I wasn't Black enough. I wasn't really white. My mom is white. My dad is Black. So like I didn't fit into a race category. I was the only mixed kid in my class back then. So I didn't feel like I had that. And then I also was more of a tomboy growing up. So I didn't fit into the typical gender roles. I was a gifted student. And so I was either trying to act white if I was gifted, or I was like trying to not be so gifted. So I wouldn't be, put in that kind of category. And then I would feel bad because I'm like, well, that's not true to who I am. And so it was just in all of these different ways, I just did not feel like I fit in. So that backdrop, that's how I was raised. My parents are pastors, both of them. And what I was taught as the daughter of pastors, like in the church, was very different than what I was shown by the church and otherwise. And this isn't to badmouth religion or anything. It's just my experience. What I was being told and what I was experiencing were vastly different. And I didn't get it. I didn't get it as a kid. I'm like, I don't get it. Why are we saying love, but we're showing hate? Why are we like, I just didn't get it. And so I'm like, I don't fit in anywhere and no one gets me. That's how I felt growing up. So as a kid, I knew I was going to grow up. That was going to be some kind of professional helper, some kind of therapist. And I also know I was going to be a mom. And so that has never changed. That has never changed. I have always, since I was a child, wanted to be a mom and wanted to be some kind of professional helper where I would be helping people that hurt on the inside, but couldn't show it on the outside, just like me. Because even as a kid, I was feeling that. I started with bulimia when I was only in middle school. And even before that, I was trying to put myself on diets because I was heavy. I was overweight. I was obese as a kid. So I didn't fit into the physical good looking box or whatever. And so growing up, feeling that way, feeling like I didn't fit in, but I just had to have a purpose. Because even though I had questions through the religion and the church piece, I still had a faith. I still had a belief that I had a purpose and I had a God, right? I still believed that. And so that's why there was so much incongruence and such a gap for me happening. But I held on to this sense of like, I have a purpose. I have a purpose. I have a purpose. I just have to find it. I just have to touch it. I just have to connect with it in some way. That's really what kept me going for a really long time, as well as trying to prove people wrong. The people that said I should be in certain boxes, trying to prove them wrong, prove the stereotypes wrong. That really pushed me too. Like, no, you're not going to tell me who I am. You're not going to tell me my value. You're not going to tell me who I can and can't be. That really is part of what pushed me to keep moving forward too, and pushed me to keep accomplishing. But it also made me feel in some ways less than or not enough. And that inner back and forth created what I call a tug of war. And I see that with my clients now as well. This kind of internal tug of war, this push and pull that can really be relentless and can really pull us down if we don't pay attention to it and choose to do something differently. We can't be fighting with ourselves inside all the time,
So it's really conflicting what you went through, because you were an achiever. You were someone who saw achievement. You were someone who saw the future for yourself as a mom. That's a huge role to see yourself in, especially as a young woman. And then you saw yourself as a professional and to be a helper, but yet you were struggling with all of these live up to standards, or what standards am I supposed to be living up to? Because I don't even know which I should fit into. And eventually you went off to college, and eventually this all caught up with you. So do you want to share a little bit about what happened at that time?
Sure. And I will say, it caught up with me before college as well. This was not the first time when I questioned whether or not like I still needed to be alive. And so when I was in college, it was my first, like the first person I was in a relationship with that I thought I was going to spend my life with. And I was involved in everything I could possibly be involved in on campus. I was a resident assistant. I was just all over the place, right? And that helped me stay busy. Staying busy helped me avoid the emotions, right? Mm-hmm. So like there was a reason for that, even though I didn't consciously realize that. But yeah, eventually those emotions build up, all that pressure builds up, and that did happen for me when I was in college. I was in my dorm room and I took a bunch of pills and I was cutting myself with scissors, and I kind of had to sap myself out of it. How, I don't know how or why, I just did. And I called my friend, her name is Stephanie, and she was also a resident assistant. So she was able to get in the building. You know, no one else would have been able to get in. And she took me to the hospital, and it was a horrible experience. Not listened to by doctors, just, it wasn't even a safe environment, where they put me. There was like a man there. It was a co-ed adult floor. And so like there's men on this side and females on this side, but like it just wasn't properly staffed. And this man was trying to push himself into my room. And it was only my roommate that like intervened. The staff didn't even pay attention. It was just a really, really bad experience. And when I left that experience, I said, you know what, this is just more fuel on the fire for me to go further into my field of mental health and make changes in our systems that need to be made, because this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable to treat someone this way. I don't care who they are. You do not put someone in this place where, especially if they need help, right, where they feel trapped and unheard even more, when part of why they're there is because they felt trapped and unheard in the first place, right? So it was, I could go off some crazy tangent on that, but it was not a pleasant experience. I did not find it to be helpful at all with my mental health. If in fact, it really pushed me to feel like I needed to do more on my own, even more. But it was a catalyst for change, because it did put that fire onto me of like, no, you questioned. My question was, have I completed my purpose? Because if I have, then please take me. And that's when I kind of like took the pills and the scissors. But it answered that question for me. Like, look at our system. No, your purpose is not complete. You have more work to do. And then the next year, unintentionally, I became pregnant, and then I became a single mom. And that was an even further evidence of like, look, you still have more purpose to serve. You still have more to give, and you still have more to learn, and you still have more life to enjoy. That year was such a blur. I wasn't really myself, although I can say, looking back, that I probably never really got to be myself anyway, like in general in my life. And that's as saddening as it can be. It's also empowering because of where I'm at now, and how much has shifted. And it's just further evidence and proof for those that I know that there are so many in that place that I was in, for them to hear and to see and to know, you just don't have to stay there. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's quick. I'm not saying it's simple or anything like that to shift out of it, but I am saying it's possible. And I'm saying you don't have to do it alone. And those are two big ones: to feel like it's not possible and to feel like you have to do it alone. Those are two big ones that keep us stuck. But it is possible. You don't have to do it alone.
That is absolutely remarkable. We have some great comments. Sharon was saying, I think we have to credit the last year for allowing us to voice exactly how we're feeling. It is time to let go of not good enough for all of us. Yes, thank you. And so this is just in the comments who's live with us, and thank you so much, everybody. Just say yes if this is resonating with you, or making an impact, because this is a really deep, profound story. And I think that even if we never have gone through this to the depths that you have, which many of us haven't, but we can relate to the feeling. So fast forward, tell us where you are now, and tell us about how long have you been that helper to help others?
So I've been in my field for over a decade. And when I started out, I actually started out as the single mom with the newborn baby, helping teen moms. And that experience also was life altering for me. And so I have this space in my heart for teen moms that will never go away. And part of my goal, in fact, is as I grow my coaching business, is to be able at some point to provide philanthropic support to teen moms, because I just have such a place in my heart for them. So the pieces that have really led me this past decade to do this work was more focused on the therapy piece. And I wasn't looking to become a coach. I wasn't planning to become a coach. That found me. That found me. I had accomplished all those lofty goals that I had by the time I was 30, my doctorate, 2 masters. I had already had many years of experience as a licensed clinician, had my 3rd baby, owned my home, owned my car, quote unquote, American dream, right? And I was like, there's still more. I wasn't in burnout anymore, but I was in this place of, okay, I've done it all, and I still feel like there's more. That led me into the field of entrepreneurship and business ownership with my private practice. And that wasn't planned either. That kind of came to me as a place where I could help people even more in a deeper way. And so that's what I did. And then once I was a business owner and all of that stuff, the coaching kind of flowed its way to me. And so I do both now. They are separate businesses because therapy and coaching are not the same, although of course there's overlap, right? We want to enhance the lived experience of everyone, but they're separate. So I have my therapy business and I have my coaching business, and I no longer do any W-2 work, which is what I was doing the bulk of for a good decade. I was doing the bulk of W-2 work, working for other agencies, be it hospitals, like residential settings, communities, school districts, providing consulting, emotional support, to families, individuals, children, behavior specialist work, and things like that. So I've run the gamut of how I've provided support for mental health, and I've enjoyed all of it. But life happens in seasons. I'm a big believer in that, and so we need to be able to adapt to the season that we're in, knowing that it's here for a reason. The season's here for a reason, right? And so was the last season, and so will the next season, right? They'll have their reasons for us to have experiences with them and grow through them. And so this is the season I'm at right now, and I'm loving it. And I can only see a vision of further expansion with both my coaching and my therapy businesses, because my clients are amazing and I love them. I'm so grateful to them. They share their appreciation to me, and I'm like, I just want to share my appreciation to you because you're amazing. You're the one showing up and doing the work and making that commitment.
That is awesome. And we have about 7 minutes left, and you're going to bring us a self-care tool that you love to share with people. But first, I want you to describe who is your ideal client, or who is it that you typically work with?
Yes.
And I'm going to share your link to your Wellness Universe profile so people can connect with you, by the way.
Awesome. Thank you. My ideal person is the former me. The achiever, leader, impact maker, someone that wants to make a difference in the world, but has been pushing themselves to achieve goals or to give to others, to always be on mode so much that they've kind of lost themselves and or their purpose in the mix. And so they want to be able to still further their impact, but they also want to be able to enjoy their life and the fruits of their labor. And so I want to help you do that. I'm not saying that things are cookie cutter. I'm not going to say that just because a certain thing worked for me, it's going to work for you, which is why I'm really big on customizing my approach. But I will say that there is a framework, there are principles, and they do apply across the board. Now, how they're implemented, that's what shifts. The barriers, the beliefs that we need to address that get in the way, right? That's different for each person. But there is a framework and there are principles that we need to be able to connect with and implement in our lives in order to make that shift.
I love it. I love it, Dr. Toni. So we're going to take some questions at the end, but first, I would love for you to share a self-care tip with us. And what can we do to help improve our own lives?
Yes. Okay. So this is a super simple one, but it's really powerful if you allow it. And if you follow me, you'll hear me say that a lot. Because a lot of these pieces, they can be simple and they are powerful, but only if you allow it. So here's a big one. When you notice that you're feeling a certain kind of way, a hard, challenging way, maybe it's stress, maybe it's overwhelm, maybe it's anxiety, notice that voice, notice the thoughts that are going through your head. And what I want you to do is I want you to say, that's not me, that's fill in the blank. And so for me, I say, if I have like high pressured voices of like, you need to do this or you should be doing this, something like that, that's not me. That's just the part of me that needs to stay busy. What that does, as simple as that sounds, is it allows you to separate yourself and who you are from those nagging voices in your head that tend to dictate the stress and the overwhelm. And the more you do it, the bigger the separation becomes, so that you can start to see, I'm choosing this and I'm not doing it because I think I should, or I'm pressured, or I feel guilty. And when you choose something because you truly want to, you own that choice, it changes your life. So notice how you're feeling. And then when you notice how you're feeling, you're going to label that part of you and call it out as, it's not you. That's not me. That's fill in the blank. Choose whatever label makes sense for you. We don't want a derogatory label because it is a part of you. It's just not all of you, right? We want to beat ourselves up. We don't want to further that tug of war inside of ourselves. We do want to befriend that part, right? We're not trying to make that part feel bad or anything like that, but it's a part. It is not all of you. And it does not get to dictate your life, your decisions, or your relationships. It doesn't get to do that unless you allow it. Simple, but really powerful if you practice it consistently.
Oh, Dr. Toni, I love that. That is super powerful. And I don't think that you've shared that one with us yet, through all of the different ways that we have gotten together, and you have contributed to, helping people feel great through our different sessions that we've had. But that was really powerful. And I love that you said, don't beat yourself up, just call it out and move on, and power, I don't want to say power on either, but move through it and realize that it's not you and it's not going to control who you are in your life. So with that, I shared your link to your Wellness Universe profile. So does anyone have any questions for Dr. Toni? We have about 4 minutes left.
I would love to answer any questions you all have. I will do my best.
And I'm just going to share the link for if you want to read Dr. Toni's story and get a different tool, which she shared in her chapter for the stress relief book. There's the link for that. But I highly encourage you to click on those links, and they open up in a new window, and you will not lose your spot here. So we'll wait for some questions. We have a few minutes left, but Toni, do you have any final thoughts or, in closing out this wonderful session? This was such a great way to get to know you. Thank you so much. We are so blessed.
Oh, thank you. I do. I have one that also is another simple but powerful one if you allow it to be. And this actually came to me as I was building both of my businesses kind of simultaneously and had officially left my W-2 completely behind. And that's because whenever you're ready to up level in life, you're going to feel some stress. And when you feel stressed, your old habits want to kick back in, right? So I was up leveling, I was building my businesses right by myself. And so those old habits of perfectionism, of intense pressure that I was putting on myself, they came up when I was kind of in that up leveling stress phase. So I had to call them out for what they were. And when I did, here's a motto that came to me, just from inside, came to me, that I still say to myself to this day. And it is this: I reserve the right to grow. I reserve the right to grow. Well, you should have done this. I reserve the right to grow. Well, I messed up here. I reserve the right to grow. Well, you could have done. I reserve the right to grow, right? That is a statement that if you experience perfectionism or intense pressure to do well or excel all the time, I encourage you to grab it, make it your own, reserve the right to grow. Because if you're beating yourself up for not knowing or for not doing something perfectly, then you are saying, I should have known all of this, which means there's no room for growth. And if there's no room for growth, how are you going to expand? Right? And so reserve your right to grow. And it's a great way to reframe of like, no, whatever this was that just happened, you can learn from it, you can grow from it, you can expand from it, or you can beat yourself up for it and feel stuck. There's the right to have those choices. So I reserve the right to grow. It's such a powerful, simple motto to stick with, again, if you allow it.
That is fantastic. These are two powerful, powerful tips. Thank you, Dr. Toni. So with that said, how is it, in about 30 seconds, what do you have available for people to use your services, to get in touch with you, to collaborate with you, to work with you, to take your guidance and, catapult them into the life that they want?
Yes, I love that question too. You're full of good questions. So there's a couple ways. I do self-paced courses for those that want to move through pieces at their own, whether it's managing time differently or increasing your motivational levels. I also have my reset process. It's a proprietary process. You're not going to find it anywhere else. So if you want to hit your reset button in a certain area of your life, there is the self-paced course. It's going to bring you lessons, digestible, about 15 minutes per day lessons. It's going to come to your inbox every single day for 8 weeks to walk you through exactly what you need to do to customize the process to fit your needs, to fit your desires, so that you can move towards whatever your reset process looks like in a way that feels good to you. That's also sustainable. I do have a variety of times throughout the year. I do have one-to-one packages. If you want to work directly with me, you certainly can reach out at drtonycoaches.com and schedule a consult, and we can discuss if that's a good fit for you as well.
Awesome, Dr. Toni. Thank you so much. We love you. We adore you. So everyone, thank you for joining us live. If you're watching the recording, thank you so much. Again, please reach out to Dr. Toni. Her website she just gave. There's also the link in the chat, which has all of her resources on one page there at the Wellness Universe. And I want to say thank you, Dr. Toni. Once again, your story is powerful. I'm so honored that you shared it with the audience here today, and also for the first time in your life publicly through the Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self-Care, 25 Tools for Stress Relief. And I just want to say, we do these every week on Thursday morning at 11 a.m., self-care true stories with members of the Wellness Universe. Please check out thewellnessuniverse.com. We have someone for everyone there. So if you need help, guidance, support in any way to help you live a better life, please come to thewellnessuniverse.com and check out our wonderful Wellness Universe members. And also, I know Jennifer Whitaker is on here with us. She's another amazing coach focused on trauma and resilience. And so, Toni, thank you. You are such a blessing to the world. And I thank you for stepping into your calling, your purpose, and helping the world to be a better place.
Oh, thank you, Anna. Thank you all so much. I am looking at your comments right now, and I'm going to look through them when we hop off. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know time is precious. So thank you for spending yours with us.
See you next week, everyone. Thank you.